Keep moving!
Right from the very beginning, I remember shooting Pitch Black, and I remember thinking, there is some place to go with this character. The possibilities of exploring Riddick's world just kept haunting me. And I remember telling everybody that Riddick was going to come back.
I knew the trap the other sequels had fallen into, about kind of replaying the same thing over and over again. So I said, I think the key to it is not to do the expected. Don't go back to the same planet. Don't meet the same creatures. Don't even let it be a creature movie. Could we change genres and yet keep the same tone and keep the same characters? I think that was the inspiration for the approach and the metamorphosis between Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick.
Once I was done shooting XXX, I'd look into the mirror and I would see Riddick looking back at me. And that is a pretty good indication that it's time to play Riddick.
Riddick is an interesting character because I think he knows there's something special about him. And I think that he is afraid of this responsibility.
He's not a reluctant hero, he's an anti-hero. I mean, he basically thinks of himself as a convict, a hunted man, a murderer. He thinks there's nothing redeeming about it.
Guns work, water works, rope works, big coats work for first team, next shot.
As a science fiction guy, David brings a lot of science into it. Crematoria is a superheated volcanic planet with one side, the daylight side is 700 degrees and the night side is minus 300 degrees. And he built a huge story point around this slow-moving band that circles the planet.
Crematoria is a planet that Riddick cannot just simply walk off because he's Riddick. He has to fight these elements as the hero of the movie.
The design of Crematoria so much helps the introduction of Riddick and Kira's relationship. And then you gotta get sent to a slam.
One where they tell you you'll never see daylight again? Only there wasn't any doctor here who could shine my eyes, not even for 20 menthol cools. Was there anything you said that was true?
So you have to look now for all these different elements that you want to put together to create a feeling that is not from this world. We are in Crematoria, which is a lava, rock, very extreme kind of planet that has our slam prison. So using familiar elements, but trying to put them together in a certain way that you create this really harsh environment.
It's kind of unusual to develop something like this from scratch, where you're dreaming up worlds and universes.
You're lucky you have 6'3".
I'm really enamored of pre-production, that rare halcyon time when anything is possible. And I'm coupled with a great team of concept artists who also think that anything is possible.
On to Crematoria, guys.
We started basically planning the movie in Los Angeles. We had a long period of think tanking at the beginning. I was then hiring more and more people, obviously starting with illustrators, just to develop a visual concept.
What's nice about working with Holger Gross, the production designer, is he's a team player. He uses me in that developmental art as well as being the facilitator, more manager guy of an art director.
I'm a big believer in having stuff on the wall, something to look at. So the process was complex, from sketch drawings to Photoshop. So usually I lay out sizes, floor plans, just a feeling, sketches, so that I can give it to the next person down.
The slam world is kind of a half-buried prison. It's partially covered over by outbursts of lava. So it's about part run-down prison, and the equipment is maintained barely. Holger had ideas that slam was kind of like a Russian gulag. It was in disrepair, a lot of exposed wiring, it's run down. You're almost not sure who's a prisoner and who's a guard. And just kind of going on that, we did some looks of grungy hardware and dilapidated items. The slam sled is kind of this beat up amusement park ride in the middle of the movie. It's really cool.
great thing about this world or about this universe is that we are introduced to so many different types of environments that have characteristics onto their own that help explain the story in some weird way.
Respect when it's warranted.
David really didn't want a terrestrial look, so we chose to do this all on stage, which means we have these huge sets, which create a real environment for actors to work in.
I can't even tell you how many sets we have. Crematoria is 200 feet wide by over 260, 70 feet long.
A lot of the detail work, we've had this great sculptor, Dan Miller. He did a lot of the molding details. He carved the crematoria volcanic surface using a hot wire because it's all made out of foam. So it's giant sculpting.
When I walked onto the set, it was a wild experience to think of that much real estate being occupied to create this world.
A convict knows when to show a certain respect.
I'm just passing through.
We also have this great ensemble cast, which has really been terrific, and it all starts with Vin's desire to really have like great people.
The most rewarding aspect of the Chronicles of Riddick for me was the ability to work across from so many incredible actors.
Nick Chinlin, one of my go-to guys, Nick. DT, I want to be your go-to guy. One of those workable actors who's going to step in, get the job done with not much Sturm and Drang, and yet deliver a really sound performance. That's what I appreciate about Nick. And he'll go there. He'll try things. He'll try things.
I think the first question out of my mouth was, where did all this stuff come from? I mean, the imagination is amazing. Specific details of creatures and worlds and races, and it's just, it goes on and on and on, and it could just keep on going.
Nick Chinlin plays Toombs. He's ultimately in it for the money. He could care less about Riddick. He brings a comedic familiarity to the film. It's that kind of merc-convict relationship.
Riddick is very cocky and very quiet, kind of the opposite from Toombs, and so Toombs wants to let him know just exactly who caught him, what he is and where he's from and all that stuff, and he crows about it for a little bit too long. You know, you're supposed to be some slick shit killer. Now look at you. All back of the bus and shit.
Alexa Davalos is amazing as Kira. I couldn't even call her Alexa. After our first meeting, I referred to her as Kira from then on.
I feel like I've been so blessed with this part because there's so many layers to her. She's got an enormous, almost a fog that doesn't see the joy in things, and yet there are those little tiny moments where you see she's really still a kid, you know, and she's got her quirky moments.
The character as written was very tough, yet she has such a natural sympathy. A lot of the other actresses I read had a lot of a toughness to them, could do that part of it well, but didn't have the other side.
And I never really saw myself in this kind of role prior to this, and have this immense physicality. I never really thought of myself that way, or even really being able to do it. It was a huge challenge for me.
Yeah, Alexa's awesome. She's game to do all her own stunts. She's crazy like that.
She did all the fighting. She did a flip on the wire and kick people and fall down and get roughed up. And when you look at her, she's so pretty and delicate. She's a young girl. She's not that way once we put her in her element there.
The stunt team is just mind-blowing. So phenomenal. Bob Brown and Brad Allen has so much patience with me.
She was chomping at the bit and wanted to fly and wanted to fight. And she'd be there at midnight if we asked her to come and train. She kicked ass in it, to say the least. She did a really good job.
I'm surprised I'm still standing. The name's Kira now, and I'm a new animal.
Get his ass kicked!
City. fight coordinators, these incredible fight coordinators. One of the things that I tried to convey was that Riddick is a very grounded fighter. So we created this very savage-like fighting style that I think is sick.
Action! 3, 2, 1, go!
It evolved and evolved and evolved because we were trying to create something new here, even though we had wire-assisted fights and not just a bunch of flipping and twisting for no reason. But we started with Kali, which is a real pretty Filipino knife fighting form, but involving acrobatic stuff, a little bit of the wire work, a little bit of wrestling.
This is one serious knife right here. It's gonna kill a lot of people.
Riddick is a blade specialist. He has spent many years in the confines of a prison that would only allow him a shiv or the resources to make a blade.
I'll kill you with my teacup.
That's what he's been training with. That's his area of expertise. So seeing a blade in Riddick's hand is a scary thought.
Remember that favorite game of yours?
Who's the better killer?
Let's play.
Vin is quite the athlete. I'm trying to think of a stunt he didn't do on this movie.
Vin is physically so great. When you're doing an action thing, he can actually do the stunt and be staying in character, and we get to see it.
A lot of the fights that you see in the movie are really Vin. We have a fight choreographer as well, but Vin can put the Riddick flourishes on a fight sequence.
And that's the cut, thank you. Cut. Very nice. Reset will go.
So that's what I expect of Vin physically, and he expects of himself.
When Dave and I are talking about the story, it's more fun than anything else because we're just exploring the possibilities.
Vin is a guy that has a lot of ideas, but it's for the better of the movie. Having 2 films under our belts now, I think we've got to the place where we think of each other as brothers.
That dies.
Cool. Very cool. We have more of a fraternal-like relationship than anything else because we challenge each other as much as we can. And we've been bound by the reality of Pitch Black, which was, for both of us, a kind of an awakening period in our lives where we both take a lot of pride in that, and we wanted to extend that.